just look, it's about preventing homelessness. So the idea here is if you can spend close to $5,000 a month on a hotel room that doesn't have kitchens and isn't adequate enough for a homeless family, why can't we take that money and transfer it to locations that already exist, people who are already in apartments, and let's subsidize, right? And that's back to Andy Hevesey's plan. Let's subsidize. Section 8 exists. Why don't we just continue to subsidize a program for the homeless, right? Or the would-be homeless. It's about preventing. Why allow them to become homeless and then say, ooh, we have a problem. Now let's invest $5,000, almost $5,000 a month to put them up on a hotel room.
Senator?
Yes, it is about the fact that we are trying to help people transition into permanent housing and trying to help those individuals. There's no secret about the current conditions of some of our shelters, the deplorable conditions, crime-ridden, and situations where these homeless individuals don't want to be in this type of setting. So it is about finding them appropriate housing, and the idea here is we can do this by working together, not warehousing 200 people at a time and stretching out our police force and everything else. We can find these appropriate sites and appropriate housing for these individuals.
Senator Palma?
I think it's important to point out that there'll be a hearing later today about three-quarter housing. And if you are on public assistance in the city of New York today, the most amount of money that you'll receive in a state voucher is $217. So one of the bills that we're hearing today is a resolution to call on the state to allow us to give more to people who are receiving public assistance in those vouchers. So clearly there is not enough money to keep people in their homes, which has been said.
I just wanted to follow up. You mentioned videos a couple of times put out by the administration. I saw one that showed an image that they said a neighbor was complaining about homeless children playing in someone's yard, and then they made it a big thing about taking the kids to a museum or something. What do you know about that whole situation, and what do you think of kind of the way they portrayed it?
Well, it's interesting how the messaging was spun. So you have a group of people in the community expressing their right to protest something because of the lack of communication, because it was just given to them and thrown on them and kind of shoved down their throats a week before. And they're protesting and saying, why is this happening here? You have not spoken to us. Let's talk further. So they take that protest and they use and they spin the message of, look at these bad people, all right? Which is back to my point early on. Look at these bad people. They don't want to help the homeless. So far from the truth. So far from the truth. The people in the community are caring individuals. The people in the community do want to help the homeless individuals. But they were expressing themselves on the anger, the protest on, they just shoved that homeless shelter, or tried to, a week prior. So that was their frustration. So to use that and turn it around and say, oh, these people can care less about homeless, I think that was low. And I think that was a political ploy, that was a political tactic, right? That you see in dirty campaigning, right? During election time. But you know what? The bottom line is, those individuals that were part of the protest, I think they will have a long-term memory come next year. I think those individuals see that video and they'll say, oh, so you're making us out to be heartless and to sort of be portrayed as if we don't care about the homeless. Okay, we'll remember. And look, 2017 is just right around the corner. I'm pretty sure those individuals will remember.
If I may. So I was at that rally, that was in Belrose, and the residents from Mansfield then got together with the residents from Belrose to protest in front of a hotel that was used for a homeless shelter owned by Mr. Irshad Patel. Now, one of the issues with these hotels being used is the actual owner, Mr. Patel, has a questionable past. You know, he's admitted to bribing elected officials. And if I'm the mayor of New York City, I'd be very careful who I deal with, especially financially. And we've asked the administration to really reconsider working in conjunction with Mr. Patel and his hotels. But I was appalled. I was appalled by that video. That propaganda video that showed all these people, technically white people, protesting, and again, people of color being put on a bus and being brought to a museum. The optics of that is so wrong, because it's not about a particular color, it's not about a particular race, it's about helping people who are in need. And I've never seen the administration go through that length to try and justify a failed policy. That was to me a sign of desperation of this administration. Because I guess, as many people have said, if not for that protest, I guess those children don't go to the museum. Because that was the only reason they were taken out that day to go to the museum, was to avoid the bad people at the protest. It's appalling. Again, it all could have been avoided. This frustration, this anger from the electeds, from our people, all could have been avoided if early on this administration worked with us, worked with our communities on this growing crisis that they had to see growing. This is not a surprise, ladies and gentlemen. This homelessness issue is not a surprise. This administration should have been ahead of the curve, working with us, pulling us into City Hall, not demanding or dictating that we're getting homeless shelters and we have no say, which happened in June of 2014. Queens electeds called here and told, you're getting homeless shelters because Queens is not picking up its fair share and you have no say. Did not have to be that way. I think far better of an administration, of a policy, of a way to help others is working cooperatively with us and with our communities on a policy and the programs that would have worked, not dictating and causing such anger and frustration, and ultimately a propaganda video.
But do you think that by protesting and